Well, that's my conversation earlier with Kal Baraje. He was meant to be live on this program, but he did say some other meetings, so we had to make that have that conversation. Professor, the last key point there, before that, he said so many things. He talked about good governance, impunity, oppression of the masses, lack of rule of law, unemployment, economy of the country. And he said these are some of the things that they are against. That's why they had written that letter to the leadership of the APC.
Well, I don't want to go into the wranglings of the APC, but I would like to pose the question of who appointed them spokespersons for the masses. These people, it seems to me, are far removed from the masses. They claim to represent them, but I can discern a change of opportunism. They want to hitch their wagon on the engine of rule of law, of democracy dividends. They cited the question, which is a valid question, of unemployment and the disenchantment of Nigerians, generally speaking. They would have caught more eyes if they spoke about Fulani herdsmen, the type of killings that we have seen in Benue, in Nasarawa, even down south, Enugu State, and all sorts of places. Because definitely President Buhari has not demonstrated the necessary verb, to arrest the deteriorating security situation in the country. He has left the vice president to remove his chestnut from the fire. So I think that's the point which they still have time, 1 year to go, to correct the impression that the President Buhari is a Fulani redentist, or that he is patron of Miyetti Allah, all sorts of things. His credibility has been called into question. That type of speech by Mr. Baraje and his confederates will have caught more eyes. But to be talking generally in terms of the economy and all that, I think they are being opportunistic, if we due respect to them. They say they want to be included. They want an inclusive approach. They want more board appointments. So that's why I said they are self-seekers, just masquerading as protagonists of the masses. That's my view.
Now, the young Nigerians, they say, because you asked a very key question there, if they have the muscle, if they have the wherewithal to go the hog, the whole hog in our political endeavor in Nigeria. Now, speaking to this issue, which the Assembly had also mentioned, some of those issues, security problems in the country, where they also said that they have passed a vote of no confidence on the Inspector General of Police. Perhaps tell us what you think might happen now that they are using the word if the president fails to act on all of this. They will activate some of the provisions of our laws. Is that a subtle threat of an impeachment on the president of the country?
Well, I've read online this evening that they are already collecting signatures amongst themselves. I'm talking of the legislators, pursuant to an endeavor to impeach President Buhari. Now, impeachment is a political process. It has less to do with law. It's more of politics. And if President Buhari endures impeachment, then the die might be cast. That might be the end of his tenure. You see, as I said earlier on, the APC is yet to galvanize into a cohesive and coherent aggregation of interests. So Buhari will be reminded how he came to win. It was a coalition of sorts that brought Buhari to power. Now, if that coalition falls apart, is disentangled, then that might be the end of the APC being the ruling party. The Yorubas have a saying that the whip that was used for the senior wife usually behind the door. It used to be at the rooftop or the ceiling. Now you have it close by. So unfortunately for the opposition, they are not viable. So to me, the trump card of Buhari is that what we used to hear sometimes we call Tina, there is no alternative, might actually work to the plus of President Buhari. I can't see the viable opposition alternative to Buhari. And that's his trump card. The guy is committed all manner of malfeasance. But who is the alternative? If you don't run Buhari, who else can stake a claim to the presidency? The names I'm hearing are wasted people of little credibility. And Nigerians might say, better the devil you know than the angel you are yet to meet. So Buhari will be, if you will, a dark horse, and he might win again come 2019. As far as the young people are concerned, they lack the muscle. They lack the experience, but then experience is something that even can be bought. They can appoint people with experience, because the trend in the world around us is for young people to be in positions of power, influence, and authority. You have the leader of the North Korean regime is just 33 years old. You have Justin Trudeau, who is 44. You have all sorts of young people around. And people might say, look, this gerontocracy is something that we have to do away with. It's an ideal to say young people should be in power. But can they get there? And that's why the joke by President Buhari was misunderstood. Because as a lawyer, I know that an amendment or a law in terms of voting age is futile to the extent that it has not resulted in the amendment of the Constitution. You see, the Constitution is the dominant law, is the overarching law, and the Constitution has provisions that any other law which is inconsistent with the Constitution will be null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. Something
for the young ones to think about. We would like to thank you very much, Professor Akin Oyebode, for finding time to come to our studios today. Well, we do hope that next time you come, we should be able... What's your favorite meal?
It's difficult to say. At 70, I don't eat much anymore. I watch what I eat. Because we want to prolong your stay.
I owe you a cup of coffee then.
No problem.
Many thanks. We'll take a moment and we'll return shortly.